Well, it's finally happened. Donald Trump has been exposed, folks. Didn't you know it was only a matter of time before we finally got the leaked bombshell that would just take Donald Trump down? What, of course, I'm referring to are these recently leaked audio tapes that coincide with the book uh, recently released by Bob Woodward. Rage, I think, was the title of the book. Okay. And apparently, Bob Woodward recorded a lot of these conversations. Now, what is the smoking gun that I have heard indie media and mainstream media focus on? It is the fact that apparently, while Donald Trump has been telling us through his rallies, through his speeches, and through his tweets to not worry about COVID-19 and it's really not that big of a deal and all these different things. While Donald Trump was telling us that, he was telling Bob Woodward behind the scenes when he was giving interviews for his book, yeah, COVID-19 certainly is something to worry about. They're focusing on the fact that even back in March, I believe it was, in these leaked audio tapes, Donald Trump mentions that, yes, this virus is airborne. Whereas the critics are saying that Donald Trump concealed a lot of that information and played it down. Therefore, it had very negative effects and outcomes. So, there is some truth there. And there's certainly a critical argument that could be made in the way that Trump handled it, being as how we've got him on tape saying this. But what is Donald Trump's defense for why he didn't come out and do certain things? So Trump's defense is he was trying to play the calm person in the room and not stir up absolute craze because of the pandemic, right? And just come out and send people into a fluster and cause everyone to completely panic. Well, some would argue we already did that anyway, right? And so because of that very fact, here's what I would argue. Being as how Trump didn't do that, and we already had people buying toilet paper to no end, hand sanitizer still to this day is hard to find, along with sanitization wipes. Sure, we've got plenty of masks laying around now, but there's other things that are kind of beneficial for helping fight the spread of COVID and the germs, right? Like, disinfectant materials, the wipes, the hand sanitizers, the sprays, okay? And again, it's still a challenge right now to properly wipe your ass. I think that this could arguably be the thing that gets more people to buy bidets in this country, because now they're having the toilet paper challenge. It's not as bad as it was, but still bad enough. To the point that I actually saw where someone had rigged together. They took like a kitchen sink hose, like a little hose that comes up beside your faucet from the kitchen sink, had rigged this thing somehow onto their plumbing on the back of their toilet so that they could use that as a sprayer, as like some homemade redneck bidet. Okay? That's where we got to without Donald Trump fueling the fear. Okay? Now, again, you can argue it was irresponsible. He certainly should have told people to wear more masks. Okay, we can have that argument. But here is what I find so hypocritical about their smoking gun. Whether that be from what Secular Talk just covered, when Secular Talk talked about this, Kyle Kulinski, whether it be his video, whether it be the video I've seen from CNN, here's the one thing they've got in common. They're pretending that Donald Trump trying to not cause more fear amongst the public is abhorrent. That it was absolutely the wrong thing to do. Whereas I guarantee you that if Donald Trump had fueled fear and came out and said, Listen, this virus is absolutely deadly. Stay in your homes and go nowhere because you're fending for your lives. This could be the end of humanity as we know it. Oh my God, it's so terrible. And it's spreading rampantly all throughout the country right now. If he had done that, you and me and anyone who's going to be honest with themselves know damn well that CNN would have followed suit by saying, you see, he's not a leader. He can't lead calmly through a crisis like this. He's fueling public fear. But since he didn't do that, they did. And now they're being critical because he played the calm voice in the room, which they would have tried to be the calm voice in the room had he done the opposite. See, that's the thing about the mainstream media. Whatever Trump says, they say the opposite. So if he acts this way, they act this way. There is a battle back and forth. And as far as Kyle Kulinski goes, like Kyle Kulinski, but I found his video even hypocritical itself. And here's why. Kyle Kulinski has been telling us that the big problem with Trump right now during the pandemic is that most people want the outsider when they don't have a situation like this going on, right? So in other words, what Kyle Kulinski was telling us was that people want calm leadership right now. And even though I still don't know that you could necessarily classify Trump as being calm leadership, he literally said that he did what he did to try to keep more fear from spreading through the public. And now you pretend that's a bad thing? Now, I take Kyle's point at this. The government should never lie to us. Absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with you. He mentioned Hillary Clinton after the WikiLeaks things came out, where Hillary Clinton said, I have a position in public, I have a position in private, okay? He brought up those things as well, and I completely agree with him. It's very hypocritical, but it's also hypocritical to call for the fact we need calmer heads to not provoke fear, yet you're being critical that the president didn't come out and provoke more fear when he had the knowledge of things that if he was just blatantly honest about would have provoked more fear. That's a little hypocritical, I would say. So you can't have it both ways. Either Donald Trump was wrong for not telling us the downright truth, which we gathered from these leaked tapes, which arguably would have provoked more fear and made what we already saw at the supermarkets and everything else even worse, or he was in the wrong for handling it the way he did. I mean, seriously, which is it? Either he's wrong for playing it down, or he's going to be wrong for riling it up. You said we don't need the hyper hothead. We don't need the person that can't be calm, but now you're being critical because he wasn't out there yelling at us, oh my God, pandemic, your lives are on the line, to provoke more fear. Because that's not what I would call calm leadership. See, agree with this or disagree with this, but calm leadership, if you study most historical definitions, are those who are able to keep a composure and keep fear down amongst the people to a degree. Now, if the mainstream media hadn't fought against Donald Trump, there probably wouldn't have been that big of an outcry about this. Now, you can again argue that would have been the bad thing. It could have caused more deaths, could have caused more sickness. Very likely. But the point is, everybody tells you that that's what calm leadership is supposed to be, right? Like, even if you're staring danger in the face, you've got to put the poker face on and pretend you're not so that everyone behind you has that confidence. So being as how he's kind of the face of the country and the commander-in-chief, that's what calm leadership does, isn't it? So, but now all of a sudden he was wrong for doing that. Again, I'm not on board with the arguments I'm hearing. Here's the only thing that I could say would have done better. Okay, if the masks are truly effective, and he had knowledge of that, he should have promoted people to wear more masks without trying to cause more fear. Just say, look, I don't think it's that big a deal, but as a precautionary measure, I encourage you, yes, wear a mask or whatever. I understand that even now there's a lot of people who don't even believe that that's necessary. And even I've seen some rules where it's over the top. Like, for example, I could go to a restaurant, I could sit down at the booth, drink and eat food, clearly not going to have a mask on because I'm in the process of eating and drinking, but I got to wear a mask to the table. That means like walking through the front door to the table, I got to have the mask on, but then I can sit there and woof down food and breathe out in the air the whole time, and that's okay. Whatever. So yeah, to me, this just is a little on the hypocritical side of things. The way the criticism is being thrown at me. Don't get me wrong. I think there's criticism that can be made, but not for what I've been hearing, because what I'm hearing the criticism come from on this particular issue is actually a hypocritical criticism here. You either want cool leadership during a crisis, or you want someone to provoke fear by telling you, yeah, you're probably going to die. Okay? So which do you want? And right now I'm hearing you make the case for why we should have had both, depending on which one fits your narrative on that particular occasion. That's not being intellectually honest, in my opinion. As we say, where I come from, you can't have your cake and eat it too.